Some people are like, well, I can't afford that $10,000 piece that I want, so therefore I'm just going to wait. You're meant to collect over time. It's like a journey that you should be on for your whole life. So start with something that makes you feel something really powerful, even if it's small, and build from there.
Hi, I'm George, the co-founder of Bluethumb, and I'm joined by my colleague Amy. Welcome to the Art in My Home podcast.
We uncover the surprising stories from the art collections of unexpected guests.
Today's guest is Alyssa Owens, an interior decorator whose journey began in the vibrant city of New Orleans. Now based in Melbourne, she heads up Alyssa Owens Design, an interior decoration studio delivering soulful, intentional design for clients worldwide. Alyssa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, George and Amy. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you. I wanted to ask.
Yeah, go.
How long have you been Melbourne-based, Alyssa?
Yeah, so I moved over here with my partner, who's Australian, in 2019.
Oh, lovely.
So 5 years now, but 2 of those years were a bit weird with the lockdowns.
COVID. Oh, you poor thing, because you were very fresh before you had all that.
I think arrived in May 2019, had a good 6 months, went home to get married in New Orleans, and then came back and it was COVID for 2 years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so in many ways I feel like I'm just starting to feel more at home and get to know the city. And
for sure.
Yeah, now that things have opened back up.
For sure. Yeah, especially it's not the best introduction to Melbourne. You got like a taste and it gets taken away from you.
And so let's get into talking about the art in your home, because if you go online, you can see Alyssa has a beautiful home in Northcote that was featured in Design Files. Yeah. And, in your work, I'd say you seem to balance refinement with sort of unexpected design touches. So in your home, how have you decorated that space? Is it similar to how you approach work? And can you talk about some of the art in there as well?
Yeah, sure. Of course. I'm happy to. So I think the key to making spaces feel cohesive, like you mentioned, and also a bit unexpected is just sort of approaching it with intention. And the decoration project and the renovation project at Northcote has been an absolute labor of love for me. And it's really, I've had the privilege of it evolving over time. Unlike my client projects, which, we've got deadlines and sort of have to get it done in 6 to 12 months. We've been in the space for about 2.5 years now, which has afforded my partner and I a lot of time to pick the right pieces and to explore our tastes and refine our approach to art selection. And I think what has resulted has been a home that really feels like a reflection of us and can evolve with us as our family grows. So we worked with Stilo Architecture, who really led the interior design and architecture from sort of concept to completion and did an absolutely incredible job. And that we bought the property, I think, in 2021, did what should have been a 6-month, but turned into a 9-month renovation in the middle of COVID, like we talked about. And from there have spent the next couple of years slowly decorating the space. And it's, like I said, it's been a labor of love, and we're so happy to be in Northcote and to be in that home. And it, accommodates our lifestyle. And my son, he just turned 3 yesterday and has grown up most of his life in this really special place. And we're really grateful for it.
Nice. There's nothing like a home renovation to get you excited about what art you're going to put in.
Yeah.
How did you approach that? Like, how have you put art in this renovated place? Yeah,
it's a good question. So my husband and I got together in 2017, and we didn't buy our first piece together until we were in Melbourne in 2019, and that was for the Carlton apartment, which I know you guys have seen. So when I thought about bringing art into the space, it was a combination of what existing pieces do we have that really speak to this new space and are going to reflect our story as a family, but also I was excited to bring in some new art as well. And there were spaces and areas that sort of really needed something. They demanded something with a big presence and a big impact. So it's been a combination of really thoughtfully considering where our most cherished existing pieces can go and are going to sing the most with, commissioning and finding new pieces, mostly from Australian artists that really make our space. And we've found some incredible artists along the way and have had some great experiences with commissions and also with finding pieces locally that have resulted in a home that brings us a lot of joy.
I really want to get into your artworks, Alyssa, because you've sourced these amazing works from galleries such as Dane Singer and Martin Brown Contemporary.
Yep.
Firstly, before we talk about the artworks specifically, when you're hunting art, do you go to gallery exhibitions or are you searching on Instagram, or where are you sourcing artwork for yourself as well as for your clients?
Yeah, great question. I think it's part of the job description to stay really relevant and up to date with what is happening in the art space. So I'm just looking for new sources of art absolutely everywhere. Instagram is incredible. It's just like a revolving gallery of artists. And I feel like in many ways it's connected me with artists who I wouldn't have come across otherwise. I also find them in sort of unexpected places. Like I have these great framers in Northcote that I go to. They're called Frame of Mind. And every time I walk in there to frame a piece, I feel like I'm walking out with a list of 2 or 3 new artists who are showing there or who have pieces that are getting framed there. And that's been another source as well. And I feel like Australia is doing a good job with also, I mean, I've got clients who are beginning collectors as well as clients who are a little bit more established. And there's a lot of opportunity for beginning collectors in Australia. Like I think you guys are doing a great job with affordable art featuring up and coming new artists that are much more accessible from a price point. So I'm across a lot of those and love making those connections between new artists and my clients.
Love that. Well, let's get into the artworks that I am dying to talk about.
Great.
First one, can we please talk about Zach Tilley's commissioned work, which is so beautiful in your dining room.
Yeah.
How did you go about this commission?
Yep.
Like, what were the requests you made of Zach? And how maybe you came across Zach as well?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So this was our first big piece for the space. And, you know, I don't always believe that you need a certain piece for a certain space. I think you can be guided by the art that you find and find an excellent place for it. But in this case, we really needed a piece, like a really big one on this big wall. And I had reached out to a good friend of mine and an artist. Her name is Iona Litchfield, and she was doing some art consulting at the time. I sent her some photos of what I was inspired by, and she came back with a list of 5 artists, and we sort of narrowed down from there. And Zach's work just really spoke to both Alex and I, but nothing that we had found in his existing collections seemed to fit from a size perspective. So we really needed something that was close to 1.5 by 1.5. And she connected us with Zach, and we told him which paintings of his existing collections really resonated with us.
Yeah.
We didn't want to provide too much guidance because, you know, that can be quite limiting for an artist. And we really wanted the piece to be, you know, from him because we admired what he did so deeply or what he does so deeply. So we gave some ideas around color or, you know, some images that really spoke to us in his other pieces. And he produced something far beyond our expectations. It was a really enjoyable process.
That's really good to hear because I know, even from what I encounter daily with buyers, commission processes can be quite intimidating.
Yeah.
And they're not, and a lot of people are like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like the final product.
I feel like commissioning an abstract as well.
Yes.
Well, it almost looks like a landscape abstract. It looks like a kind of, you know, if people are just listening on the pod, it's a kind of almost looks like a bushscape with a pink rivery bit.
Yes, yeah, I think that's a river. Well, that's what I'm interpreting.
Yeah, like a bright pink river.
Yeah, but if you squint your eyes, it's sort of it looks very abstract. And then if you sort of zoom in on pieces, you can really see the landscape forms and the rock formations.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I enjoy about it the most. It's in such a prominent part of our home. Like I see it 50 times a day, and every time I look at it, I feel like I'm seeing something a little bit new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I'm really grateful for that experience. And I agree on the commission process. It can be tricky because, you know, I've done commissions with clients before, and, you know, you have to sort of set expectations. Like, you're not going to get the piece that you saw on the wall in the gallery, right? Like, we're commissioning this artist. And I think a big part of my role as a decorator when I'm facilitating that is setting expectations and working with galleries to be really clear about what the process is going to be, and is somebody open to feedback, and what if they don't like the final product? What are the options there? So I've only had really positive outcomes from commission processes, but I do feel like it can be a bit risky.
Yeah. I mean, this one's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
This one's beautiful.
Actually, there's two nice sculptures next to it.
Yes,
I assume
I
with a
love
3-year-old, they don't exist there anymore. I've got a 3-year-old.
Those styled.
So the large one is a basket.
Yeah, that's so
and
cool.
If it falls over, it won't smash.
Perfect.
And they're both from a maker in Mexico. And the other pot is clay and has only fallen over once. Although I will say my 3-year-old the other day, he doesn't throw a whole lot of things. But at this one juncture, he was upset and threw something that hit a ceramic in my kitchen and then also fell back at the same time into this ceramic.
Incredible.
And then I was like, okay, it might be time to put these on a higher shelf.
Wow, the double hit. Yeah, we've given up on sculpture in our house for now with a 3-year-old.
100%.
And you've got 2 portraits by Mark Chu, who I know, I follow, and he sold through us on Bluethumb Digital. He sold some NFTs on us.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic artist.
Yeah.
I'm more familiar with his kind of streetscapes. But tell us about these portraits.
Yeah, so Chu is actually a friend of ours. He went to university with my husband, and there's a lot of really interesting connections with Chu. He also has done this remarkable mural in Atlantic City where my family has a home, and so there's lots of connections. He lived in New York for a while, but we came across his portraiture work back in 2019 when we moved into the Drummond Street apartment. And like you said, George, he's got an incredibly broad range, right? Like his more recent work is the streetscapey stuff. For a while, I feel like he was like featuring streetwear, like images of paintings of people in streetwear. But a while ago, he had a really big portrait kick, which is where we got these 2 pieces. And the funny thing is that they're actually 2 of 3. But the other one had sold to their waiters, and it had sold to a friend of a friend who now lives in Paris. And I quite like the idea that there's like a third element out there somewhere unknown. It bothers my husband. Like he wants the third one. And we've met this guy the owner at a couple of weddings. Again, he's like a friend of a friend. And there have been conversations about like, can we acquire the third to make the set complete? But for right now, I'm very happy to have the 2. They sort of like look at one another, and the colors are quite muted and beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that could be a nice surprise birthday present.
Yeah, exactly.
For your husband at some point in the future.
Can I ask, Alyssa, as a decorator, when you have artworks, do you prefer them to be framed or unframed, or do you go by what the artwork kind of suggests?
Yeah, it's a good question. I try to be led by the piece itself. More often than not, I find that framing can really elevate a piece of work. But I think that is totally dependent on the piece and also the space where it's going and what will be in it. So when possible, I like to be able to make framing decisions after we've got a design built out for the space. But more often than not, I prefer a frame.
Yeah.
You know, funny thing, we've launched Bluethumb in America.
Oh, cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's good. We launched last year. And here in Australia, framing is a popular option when we sell artwork. You know, people can add a frame and choose the finish.
Yeah.
And we've just got black, white and a natural timber.
Yep.
And in the USA, we don't have framing yet, but we will add it.
Okay.
And we're talking to a framing partner over there and sort of said, what's the most popular framing option? Is it black, white or natural? And they sort of were like, no, it's antique gold.
Whoa.
Is it now?
Yeah, for one of the bigger framers in the USA said, no, that's by far our most popular option, antique gold. I'm like, for contemporary art? It's like, yes.
I don't think that's a decision I've made with framing.
I was going to say,
I was going to ask, is that something you had to adjust to coming to Australia, or no, that's just...
No, I wonder who those people are.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You politely stay.
It's eye-opening. So anyway,
We are yet to see that really emerge in all our interviews as well, George.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of it.
I've seen probably
maybe,
none.
yeah.
Only in, like thrifted. Like,
okay, yeah.
that's fine. That came
and I
with
think
it.
like a gold ornate frame can be really interesting
Absolutely.
in a smaller piece. But yeah, that's quite interesting.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
So you sent through a piece by Heather Bird Harris, who's an artist I hadn't seen before.
No, I hadn't either.
And it looks like it's on a tiled wall. So.
Yeah, it's in our bathroom currently,
cool.
in our master bathroom. So Heather's also a good friend, a New Orleans and Atlanta-based artist, actually.
Oh, cool.
So most of the pieces in our home are from Australian or New Zealand artists, but I'm so grateful to have this piece in the home. Heather is a contemporary artist who creates pigment from clay and soil and rocks and other elements from the earth. So this particular piece really resonated with me. It's on a much smaller scale than she usually creates. She's just had an exhibition where she's creating triptychs that are 2 meters long and just absolutely stunning. But this is a reflection sort of on the Louisiana coastline, which is disappearing at quite a rapid rate. And she's used soil from the coastal area to create that. So yeah, it's quite beautiful. It is, yeah. I'm seeing a little bit of greens, a few, some greens in there and browns. And we have a very earthy bathroom and a very calming natural space. And so it really adds to the atmosphere in that space.
It's just so cute, just so kind of perfect right there.
Yeah.
Your little vignette.
Yeah, we're lucky to have it, and maybe one day I'll be able to have her, her more massive, her bigger
build 2
pieces.
meters somewhere.
Yeah. Got to find a wall for that.
Let's talk about also the final one we've got is your master bedroom, Kirsty Budge's Ruffling Feathers. This is a fascinating piece, Alyssa. This is really interesting. Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Sure. So this is a piece that we acquired from Dane Singer Gallery. And I had my eye on Kirsty ever since we actually commissioned the Zach Tilley. So Kirsty was one of the artists that had been suggested to us via Iona, our art consultant. And I just could not get her out of my head. And it's obviously a very surreal piece. There's some quite dark themes and dramatic themes in the piece. And I really wanted something quite surreal and moody for our master bedroom, which is sort of my retreat and the space that I like to go to be alone and to reflect. And we had, you'll see this fantastical figure in the middle of the piece sort of reflecting Joan of Arc a bit. She's in a sort of deep red cloak. I think she might have a sword in her hand and is sort of is bouncing an eyeball.
She is, yeah.
There's lots of sort of body parts within that you see and again, this is similar to the Tilley. Every time I look at it, I feel like I'm getting something new. My husband and I have very similar tastes in art. I think there's like a big sort of intersection of what we like. This was a push for him. I think he also was like, do we really want this in our bedroom?
Joan of Arc with an eyeball and a knife.
And I thought it was just perfect, to sort of hang above our heads while we're dreaming at night. And I think it's probably one of my favorite pieces in the house. So we're really grateful for it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating
It looks dreamy.
piece.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. She's got an incredible ability to sort of convey, depth and mood in all of her pieces, and they're just fantastical. And I'm so excited to have it.
I just love the shapes of it. They're like...
Yeah, all the curves.
Yeah, so curvy.
Love that.
That's beautiful.
It reminds me of Picasso.
Yeah. There's a bit of that, a bit of Dali in there as well with the surrealism. Yeah, lots of curves that I feel are representative of women's body parts.
Yes.
It felt to me it had a really strong feminine energy, and I was really attracted to it for that reason.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. Do you have any artists on your radar to collect?
Yeah. Oh, I have so many.
I'm sure you do.
I wish I just had all of the space and all of the dollars. Speaking of Dane Singer, another artist she represents is Zoe Croggan, who does these incredible, I think that she would categorize them as collages. Also, images of women sort of contrasted with architectural shapes. So like layers, and it's almost a bit three-dimensional. And I had seen last year before the Melbourne Art Fair, I had seen the catalog and they looked amazing. And I thought that I would have some time to, when I got to the art fair, take a look and convince my partner and, have those conversations. Yeah. And by the time I got there, and I was there for the opening, they had all sold during the pre-sale.
What a bugger.
It's one of those haunt you moments where I keep thinking about it. But she just does incredible work. And I feel like a lot of the pieces we have in our home are paintings. We don't have currently a lot of photographs or collages or sort of more graphic pieces. And I think it would offer a nice balance. So she's somebody that I've got my eye on.
Well, Melbourne Art Fair is coming up again.
It is.
Yeah. Is she going?
I don't know. I haven't seen. I checked out the Dane's website the other day, and I haven't seen that. She seems to put out a new collection every couple of years, so I might have to wait another year to see. A
couple of years. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that stings.
Do you go to art fairs to look for art for your clients as well, or is it more personal?
Yeah, both.
Both, yeah?
Yeah, so obviously the Melbourne Art Fair is incredible. I'm sure you guys have been.
Yeah.
But also I think we're really lucky to have a range. Like the Affordable Art Fair is another really great source, especially for my clients who are budding collectors. And I do it to stay up to date and relevant on what's happening as well.
Yeah, it's kind of immersive. You get everyone at once.
Yeah. Will you guys go this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
we
big
love
fans.
it.
Yeah,
we did a work tour to it. Well, we
cool.
wasn't really an excursion.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Basil in
Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, not yet.
No. Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
cool.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah. Cool. Are there any other artists that are sort of on the must-get list that you're thinking of, or?
There's so many. And one of the things that I love the most about my work as a decorator is that I get to live vicariously through my clients. So even when they're buying the art pieces, it feels like they're mine a little bit, just in a teeny way. So we've had a client commission a piece from Olive Chin, and she's an emerging artist who does incredible landscape pieces as well. And they commissioned her for a piece above their mantle. So that sort of scratched my itch for an Olive Chin piece, but there might be one in the future as well. I really love her work.
Love it. And TJ actually sent me your first house that you had when you came to Melbourne, this beautiful big Carlton classic apartment, and it was featured in like a blog. Like
the US,
a well-known apartment blog, Apartment Therapy.
Yep.
And I noticed, there was this big custom rug you had made.
Yeah.
Do you still have that?
I don't. Can you believe that?
What? Nowhere to fit, or?
Actually, it was too big.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
So we worked with a maker in Morocco, just via Etsy.
Yeah.
And he was gorgeous and just sort of did exactly what we asked and at the exact right measurements.
Yeah.
But it was a space that really demanded a super big rug.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to find him. Yeah.
Cool.
The apartment was amazing. So it was a heritage apartment on Drummond Street in Carlton. It was a really great location for my partner and I at the time. He was working in the CBD, and it was a good location for me to get to know Melbourne, be close to the inner north, but also the city is actually formerly the Bureau of Meteorology, back in the early 1800s. Wow. And they divided up that building into some beautiful apartments. It had these soaring ceilings with incredible crown molding, and it was just a dream to decorate and to find art for. It wasn't the most practical for family living. It got really cold in the winter. It got really hot in the summer. It was an old apartment that was great for a couple, but when we started to plan for a family, we knew we needed something a little bit different and with some outdoor space. But it was a great introduction to it's where we spent COVID as well. And so, it'll always sort of hold a special place for me.
Yeah, it looked beautiful in the photos.
Thank you.
Alyssa, because you've got such beautiful taste, have you seen people go really wrong?
That's a good question.
Have you seen some shockers that?
Yeah.
What would you not suggest doing? Decorating.
So there's definitely things that I see that I wouldn't do in my own home or in my client's home. But so much of this is about what makes people happy. And so I'm so supportive of that. I think a mistake that I see often is forgetting about the importance of editing. I think there is a desire to quickly fill spaces. And when you move into a space, you're considering all the corners and what needs to go where. And I think that an empty corner or a well-placed small piece of art or like an antique chair that is surrounded by some negative space can be as impactful or more impactful than other things that are there or other filling the space with stuff. So what I advise clients and friends and what I try to practice on my own is just letting spaces unfold over time and leaving room for evolution and innovation and for you to find the perfect piece in a year's time. And so, yeah, I think the rush to fill spaces is probably where people go wrong.
Editing, I like that term.
Yeah.
It's like a lot more considered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, if you give yourself time to find the things that resonate with you and your family and reflect you, you're going to have a home that is more authentically you. And that's not possible to do by going to one store and buying the pieces because you want to get it done.
Yeah, of course.
So really just being comfortable with an empty wall for a few years, which I think is tough for a lot of people, or even an empty room, because ultimately that will result in a more soulful home.
Yeah, cool.
That's really nice. That's like, I feel like we just always rush these days to like IKEA furniture and Kmart, which is nothing wrong with it, but it is. Yeah, it's not as considered, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And I read your love for design, and I think you might have studied there. What started in New Orleans?
Yeah.
I haven't been, but I know it's kind of
Yeah, I was
renowned
going to
for
ask
like
if you
colour.
guys had.
No,
I really want to go.
Next time I go to the USA.
The vibes, is it vibey like Melbourne? Like, is that kind of?
Yeah, it's sort of indescribable. It's hard to characterize. I mean, it's just an incredible city. It is lively and vibrant, and it's probably not what you're thinking in terms of Bourbon Street and Mardi Gras, but like there's such a soul to the city, and it's one of my favorite places in the world, and I think one of the best cities in America. So next time you go over there, I would highly recommend a trip down south.
Yeah, no, absolutely on my list. But from the outside, I know it's known for the energy and colour.
Yeah.
Have you sort of brought that into your work and home as well, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think New Orleans has definitely imprinted on me in many ways, countless ways. I actually grew up in Pennsylvania, but I spent all of my 20s in New Orleans, formative sort of years of my life. And it is where I fell in love with design. And how has it impacted me? New Orleans is a city that I think really embraces contradiction. So it is a place that is like steeped in tradition, but also very experimental and progressive in lots of ways. And I think that contradiction or that balance, whatever you want to call it, has informed the way that I see spaces as well. So I am really drawn to bold color. I'm also really drawn to the interplay of new and old and the tension and the beauty that creates. I think my practice, I try to focus on telling people's stories through their homes. And New Orleans is a place that is like rich with stories, and it's taught me quite a bit about how spaces make people feel. And so I'm really grateful to the city and the mark that it's left on me, and I hope to bring the spirit of New Orleans and New Orleanians into the spaces that I create. It's a really special place.
Yeah, that historic but constant change sounds super interesting.
Yeah, it is.
You clearly have brought that love for colour, and you can see it in the photos in your house.
Yeah.
How do you go with clients and colour? Because Australians can be kind of known for, I just want the white, clean white, nothing. How do you go with that?
100%. I think every client's different. It's been an interesting journey for me. Like, I feel like recently I've been getting some clients who are really trusting the process and are excited to go bold. Yeah. So even, one of my projects in the Inner North right now, I had suggested some more muted tones. It's still colorful, but some more muted tones for their master bedroom. And they wanted to soak the room in this like deep terracotta clay. And I was so excited by that. And we refined the idea a bit. We're doing some brown accents and thinking about how it'll sort of evolve with them and their family. But I'm noticing I don't know if it's the people that are drawn to my work because I use color, or if people are getting just more comfortable with it in general. But I'm seeing a lot more excitement for color drenching spaces, particularly master bedrooms, nurseries, bathrooms are all really beautiful places to experiment. They're like these intimate places and deeply personal, and also serve as retreats. And I'm noticing excitement from my clients to go there. I've got another project out in Mount Waverly where we're doing like an aubergine color on the walls, which is purple is not something that I've incorporated a ton before, and I'm so excited. So yeah, and I think it's also okay to not paint your whole home, but to experiment with how color makes you feel in certain spaces, which is how I approached my Northcote home. We started with white walls, and then, we want, I think color is another way of telling the home story and telling the story of the people that live there. So we started with green in the master bedroom to sort of reflect the garden. And then, later mustards and pinks came to add depth and character and playfulness. And it's been exciting to sort of get a sense of how something works and feels before making the next decision and what's going to be painted next. And I think the result is, a home that sort of feels like it's telling the same story, but with each space having a bit of a distinct personality too.
It's cool as a designer to be able to decorate your house over time.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. You've been doing it for a few years now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's something that I remind my clients as well. Like when we wrap up the project in, May, it's not the end of your home's evolution. Yeah. And we should leave space for that evolution and that creativity and that serendipity, right? Like your tastes will evolve, and you will go on a trip, or you will go to a flea market, or you will walk into the gallery and just see the piece that you've been waiting for in 2 years' time when we're not working together. And that's okay. That's what keeps a home feeling layered and alive if we leave space for that. So back to like what I think the error or the mistake that people make is filling up things too fast. And then, our homes are not like static furniture showrooms, right? Like we want freshness and we want it to evolve with the owners. So yeah. So I feel really lucky to be able to do that. And I also encourage that in my clients.
It's a great philosophy.
Yeah.
Hey, what's next for you, Alyssa? What's on the cards for 2025?
Yeah, so it's been an exciting few years for this little business of mine. And I've got some incredible projects in the works right now that should wrap up this year, the middle of the year. And vendors have come back online from their holiday break. Yeah. And I'm getting texts from everyone about like the rug is here, the chair is here. And it's such a joy to watch this unfold for my clients. And so I'm really excited to see these sort of spaces come together. The two projects that I'm thinking about in particular right now, I feel like are really reflective of my clients and who they are and what they want to represent in their home. So I'm excited to see those come together for them, but I'm also excited to show those to the world because I think it's, we spoke about the design files a little earlier today and who that's connected me with. And I think when I publish these photos, it's an opportunity for me to connect with design lovers across Australia and potentially new clients. And I've got some big dreams about like what kind of projects I would want to work on in the future, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But mostly I'm excited that people are reaching out and then like inviting me into their homes. And so I've got a couple new projects that will be started in the next couple of months. And it's such a beautiful collaborative process getting to know and work with my clients. And so I'm really grateful for the opportunity and hope that there's a lot more of that in 2025.
Fantastic.
Yeah, totally. No, when you're describing how you get to source art for your clients and, you get to do discovery, you're almost like a personal shopper for art. It sounds like a dream job for someone who likes art.
Yeah, art and furniture. Before I was a decorator, I had to admire these pieces. Maybe if I was lucky, I could get a few of them for myself. And now I get to share and connect my clients with these gorgeous, gorgeous pieces. And they get to enjoy them in their home, hopefully for a long time. It's pretty special.
And is there any further like items or artwork or furniture that you need for your house this year that you're keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, good question. We're due for a new couch.
Yeah.
Talking about
3-year-old.
three-year-olds.
Yep.
So it's time for that. So I'd be excited to find something that, and again, the balance is like aesthetics with like what's durable and what's going to work for us.
What can be reupholstered.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I've got a few, I'd love to acquire some new art this year as well. My husband and I really enjoy collecting. And so hopefully we find something that really resonates with us this year and find a special place for it.
Yeah. Actually, slightly off topic, but on that, we love when collectors start their journey buying art.
Yeah.
And often, often the first piece someone will buy, if it's online, is through us, which is great.
Yeah.
And, their first original artwork. Do you have any advice for someone who's, wants to buy their first original artwork?
Yeah, so I think I would say to focus on what is really emotionally resonant. So what is, the first questions that I sort of ask when I'm guiding somebody on art selection is, how does this piece make you feel? A lot of people worry about making a big investment and then it going out of style or it being a trend and it not enduring in their home. And so I think focusing on like what makes a piece timeless for people is if it deeply like matters and resonates with them. So does it spark joy, like intrigue, curiosity, nostalgia? Because this is the feeling that you're going to be like living with in your home. And then I do talk to them about like versatility. So if this is not your forever home, will this piece transcend this exact space that you have in mind for it? Because I think we want a collection to feel like it needs to be a conversation with the space itself, but most importantly, it needs to reflect and matter to the owners, right? And so I'd like to focus on the art itself and how it makes them feel rather than this piece of art is a good investment for this particular space. Because I think that results in collections that are more timeless and, again, more authentic to the people that are acquiring them. And then, I think starting small is okay. Some people are like, well, I can't afford that $10,000 piece that I want, so therefore I'm just going to wait. You're meant to collect over time. It's like a journey that you should be on for your whole life. So start with something that makes you feel something really powerful, even if it's small, and build from there. I have seen people sort of get stuck in like, I want the big piece. I can't get that right now. So therefore I'm not going to acquire any art. And like we talked about before, there's so many up and coming emerging artists at accessible price points that it's a shame to wait until you find the cash for the really big thing when you can have something that makes you feel just as awesome in your home.
For sure.
I love that. Couldn't have said it better.
Yep, agree. I agree.
Oh, so good. My advice is always buy the bigger one when you can't decide on the two. But your advice is so much better.
That's good advice too. I mean, I like
that. My aunt who loves collecting, often her sage wisdom is like, if you can't decide, if you love them both, get the big one.
Yeah. That's not a bad philosophy.
Yeah, but I love yours. Just whatever really connects, just start.
Just start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll unfold from there.
Totally. Yeah, people can overthink it or like I need this thing that I think is collectible or whatever. No, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I want this in my house and do I want to be, do I really connect with it? Yeah.
Exactly. And what are the chances that you're actually going to like resell the piece at some point? Like if you love it, you're going to keep it. You're going to pass it on to your kids. It's a heirloom piece. Like just focus on how it makes you feel.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah. It's not, you're not buying it to move it on. You're buying it to have it forever. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for coming in. This has been a great
It's been an absolute joy. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing those new projects you're working on.
Me too.
Yeah, great.
Should be an exciting year. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you love art and hearing collectors' stories, please share this episode with a friend. And don't forget to follow the show, rate and review to help make the pod more visible. We acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional owners of the land we're recording on, and we pay respects to elders past, present and emerging.